Good morning and welcome to Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. Chris Lee, joined by Blake Lovell and Jay Greeson. We are ready to take a look at the playoff bracket, which will be before us in just a few minutes. Guys, going to be a very interesting playoff. Going to be interesting to see what the committee does. Blake, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on what you think, what you're looking for, and what you think maybe we'll see.
Well, spoiler alerts, there are some things out there, folks, if you want to connect some dots together to already see what are likely going to be the matchups. And I tell you, we are presented by FanDuel. Wink, wink. Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting. I think it's kind of sad. I told you guys this. Before everyone's theories on whether this thing that is maybe getting leaked and all that out there, I mean, I think it's already pretty clear cut. I think it's James Madison at Oregon 5-12, Tulane and Ole Miss 6-11. I think Alabama's in at 10 to play at A&M the 7. I think it's Oklahoma Notre Dame in the 8-9. To me, the biggest suspense probably is like who's 2-3, but everything else is about as I think settled as it gets. But who knows with this committee? They could pull out a little wild card and throw us for a loop, but I don't know.
Jay, I want you to speak on this in a second, but one footnote to that, Blake, if you were right, and it's A&M and Alabama in the 7-10 game, if Georgia's the 2,
this is yes.
Yeah.
So I think
you're going to have a third rematch between Alabama and Georgia if Alabama were to go on the road and win.
My thinking for the committee is if you're going to put Alabama in and they want your public defense is going to be, well, we're going to knock one of the SEC teams out right away. Yep. And so we're just going to pair them together, and we're going to knock one of them out, and then we're going to knock another one out in the next round if Georgia's sitting there at 2. So
I know you have seen some leaks, and I'm not going to debate anything in that regard. 70 just stole my thunder a little bit. I don't know if you drop Ole Miss 1 or you flip-flap James Madison and Tulane. But Ole Miss has already beaten Tulane. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, and I don't know. I know it plays out how it plays out, but again, we don't know any checklist or itinerary or any type of qualifications that matter to these guys because it's so nebulous and ever-changing. I can understand the argument of 5 SEC teams and you pair 2 of them up early. But the other part of that, and you guys mentioned 1, 2, 3, I'm real interested to see how they juggle that or if they're back in a room somewhere. The best title game is Georgia-Ohio State. You do not want that necessarily in the semifinal.
Wow. That's a good point. You know, the other thing is a lot of times, does the committee have cover to do what it wants to do? I thought that A&M and Ole Miss should have been flipped. No shade at Ole Miss. I just thought A&M had a little bit more on its resume. If you make that flip, you can do it with the cover of, hey, well, Ole Miss is losing part of a coaching staff.
You could. And it would make a lot of sense, and it would give you what, Blake, you referenced about, okay, we're going to knock an SEC team out week 1 guaranteed just by making that flip and avoid the opportunity of Ole Miss hosting Tulane. That was not on my bingo card that Ole Miss Tulane were going to play twice at Oxford this year.
No. I don't
okay,
think so.
I want to ask you something. I'm looking at the selection show in front of me. Okay, well, we've got different. It's Lewis Riddick and Dusty, is that Dvorak? Both had Alabama out. One of the other analysts had Alabama in. I was going to say, did they know something? And then I saw the split decision, so maybe not.
No.
Carry on.
I don't think they know. Again, I just would be – I'm going to pull up Tim. Shout out to Tim, $5 super chat. Alabama 0-2 in the 12-team playoff. Hates to see it. Extend the board. Now, I'm just going to tell you, Tim, there's a little bit of a giveaway right there in his handle. VFL 98. So I can't say Tim's saying this without some bias here, but we do appreciate Tim chiming in. Yeah, we'll find out, but I don't know.
The macro ripples of this, to me, are the most amazing, because whether they had to settle on like 3 questions on who do we want to piss off less. Do we want to piss off the organizers of the conference championship games? Because if you leave Alabama out, you are theoretically, you're going to make a whole lot of conferences start asking, what do we want the conference championship game to be, if it's going to cost us a share if our loser gets there, or how are we projecting them, or whatever else. That ripples also into, look, do I agree with it? No, but I completely understand Duke banging the drum saying, we just won a Power 4 conference. How are we not? You presented this as conference champions, so every game matters. No, every game doesn't matter. Duke just won the ACC. And does it deserve to be in? No, but it's because we have a beauty pageant with nebulous rules and not a structure of, because think about this. What's the biggest, best story in the modern era since Bird Magic of the NCAA tournament? It's NC State, who had to win in the Omni in Atlanta, had to win the conference tournament to get in, and then they won the whole flipping thing. So if you're talking about keeping the integrity of the conference championship games, and you keep Duke out after winning a Power 4 conference championship as determined by the hierarchy, and you keep Alabama out, which theoretically won the SEC regular season and finished as, by definition, the runner-up, the conference championship games are going to have to get in a lab somewhere and be fixed.
Well, this is the same thing I keep saying. You cannot continue to piece this together. You have to blow the whole thing up and start over from scratch. You can say, all right, these are things we think we'd like to keep. We feel like there are elements we need to bake in, but continuing to try to tweak this and tweak that and make interact with all the million other parts out there and expect it to work is a mistake. And that goes for all of college football.
Hypothetically speaking, if there were to be a place out there that had early lines on the proposed possible matchups for this college football playoff, what would you set Oregon and James Madison at, Jay?
21.5.
Damn.
I think
good.
Let's see. That
Ole
sounded
Miss,
low to me.
No, it's 21.5.
Is it exactly
on the number?
Guys, you
Ole Miss
forget
and
I've been doing this since I was in college.
I know. That's why I asked him, Chris.
Okay.
Like, this is the. What about Ole Miss Tulane?
Between 17 and 18, because the unknown here is the Kiffin factor.
Yeah, 17.5. So.
And it doesn't take a whole lot of time paying attention to it. Is they set a bridge, and then where are they going to set the hook? Like 21 is 3 touchdowns. So, but they think Oregon's got a better chance to go north of that than James Madison does, keeping it close, especially in Eugene. And look, man, we tried to say some of this yesterday, Chris, at wrapping up the SEC championship. And before they released the whole field, we know 2 truths. That Vandy's not going to be in it, and Vandy got screwed by the system. Vandy's resume is better than being a complete afterthought on this day in the best season they've had since Swanee was in the SEC, by God.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't like their process. I mean, I don't know that Vandy, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they absolutely should be in, but they deserved a better shot at them. The committee just ruled them out without an argument, and I didn't like that. And
one of our Vandy regulars, Jay Hall, put in there earlier, and I called it the best assessment I've seen of this in a while. The path to being at large is there are 2 criteria to make the playoffs: have a large fan base and an elite logo.
Do we have any speculative lines on Alabama and A&M, if that's the matchup, and Oklahoma and Notre Dame. I've got ideas of what they would be.
I'm glad you asked, Chris Lee.
I bet FanDuel would have them, would they?
Well, they've locked them since we started our conversation, so I
Rock
can't.
locked?
Not rock locked, but
Okay.
I can't give you that just yet. And by the way, they've been. Let's go to another topic. How about that? I can't give you lines right now. So, yeah. Come up with your own lines.
Hey, Chris, are they still rattling off on the show? I'm at the TFC proper, so I don't have a screen in front of me.
By the way, if I'm guessing, I'm guessing Notre Dame is about a field goal at Notre Dame, and I'm guessing A&M is about a field goal at home against Alabama.
It'll be higher than a field goal.
Might be a little high for both.
Yeah.
It'll be closer to a touchdown in both games.
But they don't set lines at 4 and 5 often, do they?
There's not much difference between 3.5 and 5.5. So
okay.
What's your the one thing on Notre Dame is they're always inflated. It's like betting on Dallas.
Yeah.
That line's always inflated because the lines makers know that the betting public wants to bet on the Cowboys. The betting public wants to bet on the Irish.
All right. You guys give your final predictions in the comments. They'll reveal it here, I'm sure, within the next 2 hours on the full bracket. Yeah, go ahead and give us your final picks. Is Alabama in? Any other bowl predictions you have and all that? Yeah, we will share our thoughts on that. If you're jumping in, no, we are not streaming the live stream. We are not the selection show. If we were, boy, ESPN would be down a bit of a notch. But I'd say we're better dressed. But no. Big Baller Brett, there's a lot of odds getting locked right now. I'll just tell you that. So, for obvious reasons.
Setting the overrun, we're at 5 SEC teams, right? We all think Alabama gets in.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Bigger picture. Does Alabama deserve to get in?
Depends on your criteria. I could argue either way. I mean, watching them right now, I don't think so. But then again, if to do that, you have to say, hey, the regular season didn't matter. And, man, Alabama had that 1 month run where it was taking people down. And I think that has to matter too.
And they had the 1 week run that's the worst loss of any team in the field.
Yeah.
So we could both say the regular season doesn't matter. I think Alabama gets in. But you're also bucking tradition and history of taking a 3-loss team over 2-loss teams.
Well, if you leave Alabama out, then Alabama's gripe is, well, you did when the shoe was on the other foot last year, you left us out too.
And Alabama, and then the rest of the gripe against Alabama is this same damn thing happened to Auburn in 2017. Auburn dominated down the stretch, went to think about the parallels here. Auburn, a team that liked to run the football, didn't have the access of their best back. His name was Kieran Lacy. Alabama yesterday was unbelievably pedestrian running the football without their best back, Jam Miller. And they both got smoked by Georgia in the SEC championship game.
Yeah. That's fair. Now, the difference was there's 6 more bids now. I mean, there's really 8 more bids now, but 2 of them don't really count. 2 of them are James Madison and Tulane. So it's really 6 extra spots. But you're not wrong in in that part of the comparison.
I'm not arguing against Alabama. I'm not.
Yeah.
I know somebody's going to call me Auburn Homer, and that's not even going to be the worst thing I'm called on a Sunday before we go to evening church. So that's fine. But the truth of it is, to your point, Chris, I can argue both of these. I can argue including Alabama, and I can argue excluding them. But it is, which argument do you want to defend the most? And I'll tell you, and I know I'm spitballing here because we're waiting for names and seeds and all this other stuff. 2 guys, 2 people, one who deserves to be fired tomorrow, and the other who deserves way more flowers than he's even currently getting. The first one is whoever the ACC commissioner is, because he has done a terrible job of being in front of a camera trying to politic, because he's now about to look up and realize his conference is getting left out of this thing. And you want to talk about a quick path to FSU, Clemson, and anybody else who wants to make football money, starting to call the Sankeys and the Pettits and or Patinis or whatever the Big Ten commissioner's name is, and figuring out where their next destination is. Let the ACC not get a bid compared to the AAC, and start figuring out the math on that when you're getting left out of 8 and 9 figures. The other one,
their conference tiebreakers are their problem.
The other one, boys, as great as we all think Kirk Cignetti is, he is the Pete Weber bowling clip of infamy of who you think you are. I am. Kirk Cignetti's last 2 teams are both in this field, boys.
Yeah.
The infrastructure he built at James Madison, and now the team he's leading in Indiana.
Think about this. If you'd gone 5 years ago and said 5 years from now, Indiana is going to be the number 1 seed in this thing, and we're debating on whether Alabama should even be in the playoff. And, oh, by the way, it's now 12 teams. Can you imagine that conversation 5 years
ago? Vanderbilt got screwed out of the playoff.
Screwed.
So
right.
There's your trifecta there.
But I would have offered the caveat that if you'd have told me this about Alabama, we'd expand it, and they're now holding their breath in Tuscaloosa to avoid missing a 12-team field back-to-back years. My question would instantly be, what the hell happened to Nick Saban? Did he die? No, he's in Bristol. And look, Alabama's got a historic all-time short list Rushmore of college football program resume. I am in no way refuting that. We're never going to see anything like Saban did for almost those 2 decades, ever. I don't care if they make it a 48-team playoff, and we're playing football games in March.
Alabama really hasn't played well since the Tennessee game. That was 5 games in a bye week ago, other than the, whatever that Eastern Illinois game would have been called.
Chicken wing. Well, they got Nick Saban on the panel right now. You think Saban thinks Alabama should be in?
Hell yes, he does. Because he thinks they should have let Lane finish coaching at Ole Miss.
But does he really?
Saban's going to stay true to his peeps.
The ultimate, just go on here. Reese Davis and Kirk just sitting there, and Saban just says, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Alabama shouldn't be in. Just throw Kalen DeBoer just completely
my word,
under the bus at that point. What if he did
fired
that?
by Tuesday?
Oh, my. Yeah, I don't know what Saban's saying. I've got the audio off, but he's saying something. So they're going to keep talking. People want to know when they're going to reveal this thing. Folks, it'll be another few minutes. They may take a commercial break before coming back. We'll find out. But, yeah, so we'll know here in a few. By the way, remember, I can tell you the way this chat's going to go, best way to make sure we get your comment, leave a super chat. We will, because there will probably be a lot more once we announce the bracket, and people have a lot of reaction to that and everything. So, yeah. I wouldn't go that far, Sam.
Well,
I would not go that far.
They also have to pick almost 7 times more slots. They've got to be faster.
I still bring up the 1 year that CBS decided they were going to get creative with announcing the NCAA tournament field, and they did it by alphabetical order. I mean, it was awful. The most. I don't know who came up with that. Please reach out to us if it was you, because I would love to know.
Whoever came up with that is no longer in New York City. He's serving brunch somewhere at your neighborhood buffet.
But I'd love to know how that conversation played out. before and after. Like, I'm sitting there watching it, and I remember it's like, wait a second, does Notre Dame come before Northwestern? It's just like all those kind of things, and it's mental gymnastics to get to the field. So, by the way, shout out to John, subbed to the channel. We appreciate
Hello,
you, John. I think John's been saying 99.9,000% chance Notre Dame should be in. I think if it's a Notre Dame versus Miami debate, I would agree with that.
By the way, are you guys, Jay, you're not watching, are you?
No.
And are you, Blake?
Watching what? The show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Guess then you know who's in Tuscaloosa. We'll see if Jay.
Yeah, Marty Smith's in Tuscaloosa. He'll be there till next.
They should have just let Lane just let him
2028.
stay over a week and be in Oxford just for the heck of it.
You know what, Marty?
Look,
We're putting you on assignment until Lane Kiffin becomes the next coach at Alabama. You've got to stay until Kiffin comes a year or two from now.
hey, not going to shock many people who listen to me and my diction and my sayings and my phrasings that I was born in the South. All right. But Marty, I don't know anybody since Jeff Foxworthy who's gotten more out of being a public redneck than Marty Smith.
Marty's a little more refined than that, but
According to whom?
Jeff Foxworthy, come on.
Jeff Foxworthy, before he became a stand-up comedian, you know he worked? He was a white-collar dude at IBM. That is
Really?
shtick.
Wow. Okay.
That is complete and total shtick. It's calculated.
Okay.
What is Lane's buyout if Alabama misses the playoff? Man, oh man. I'm here for that now.
I would love it. There's nothing
I
I'd
am
love more.
so here for that. His buyout, by the way, to answer the actual question, $7 million.
All right. Well, Don, they're not putting up the teams. They got to go to every reporter. I think we're only 3 of the 5 have talked so far. I got nothing against these reporters, by the way. It's just they're going to go to everybody to make
Great
sure.
call, Daddy Zeke. As we're wasting time, the Duck Dynasty people also parlayed the redneck image into
for sure.
into just and what was his name? Bill Inval, the comedian.
Inval?
Look, I only know one way to act. I'm not smart enough to keep up with multiple personalities.
Why do we have Molly McGrath at Duke?
Because we got to talk about the Blue Devils. They're the ACC champs, baby. Are you kidding me?
Well,
They're the champs.
Hey, as somebody who ran a sports department for 15 years, she was probably in Charlotte, and they said, all right, we're going to need filler. You just go ahead and drive to Durham.
Yeah.
I think that's it. We need to set up as much suspense as possible, even though everyone – I mean, hey, I've seen some national media members out there, very respectable, put out their brackets and have Duke in it this morning. I don't know why.
Wow.
But they've had him in there. So
Are you talking about – who are you talking about, like Jerry Palm? Are you talking about
I don't think it's Jerry.
Their field of 64?
I don't know. Listen.
Hey, you got basketball on the brain. You and Max probably texted about. Oh, hold on! Breaking news: Arizona just dunked again. Auburn did not get back on defense or communicate. So
hey, it's a good thing we're not revealing a basketball bracket today because it wouldn't be too exciting for SEC folks now.
We can schedule that in about 8 minutes right now for the SEC channel.
Ooh, so yeah. All right, here we go. We're about to get there. I can tell. Like we're setting up the principles, strength of schedule, head-to-head competition, comparative outcomes of common opponents without incentivizing the margin of victory. Unavailability of key players and coaches that may have affected past performance or likely will affect postseason performance. Well, what do you know? Who that could apply to? A couple SEC teams there.
Both of them in the SEC.
I was going to say, yeah.
The way Jam Miller hobbled off the field at Jordan Hare, Wouldn't expect him to be back for round one.
Yeah.
They do
One of those
have
games.
2
17th?
weeks, though.
18th?
The 20th and the 21st.
18-19.
18-19. Or
Oh,
19.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at last year's. Sorry.
It's the Friday, Saturday, 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. Now
What is the committee doing? Are we still?
Oh, now we're just going to Heather here.
Hey, bully for her in this industry. She turned this thing into a cottage. She became. I've always heard it in the NBA that if you knew one thing exceedingly well, you can have a lengthy NFL career. You think Ben Wallace in rebounding. You think J.J. Redick in shooting. You don't have Tim Legler in shooting. You don't have to be universally great as long as you're truly excellent at one thing. And the truth is Heather Dinich found one thing, and she now has become the voice of it.
Yeah.
Yep. She's the Joey Brackets of this, I guess.
Sam's comment, tremendous, by the way. If you're listening on
Sam,
audio.
I earned that. I did.
Chris Lee reporting the Tennessee's the 9 heading to Ohio State.
I printed off a blank bracket to track these on, and did not notice that. Not that it matters; it's blank, but the dates were last year's dates. So
yeah. All right, the wait continues here. Yeah. Chicken Wing wants to know who's 100% in the playoffs. Let's see: Indiana, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas Tech.
James Madison and Tulane.
James Madison, Tulane.
Well, Tulane.
Texas A&M.
Ole Miss.
Oklahoma, Ole Miss.
There you go. There's your crew. Here we go. Or are we taking a commercial? I don't have the audio.
We're taking a commercial.
Oh, of course we are.
Donovan, I completely agree. Since Alabama made the playoffs in 2017, Auburn should claim a national championship. All right, quick side tangent. Funniest thing on social media during the entirety of Hugh Freeze's disastrous end at my alma mater was somebody put, "How can you fire a guy who won you 6 national championships in 3 years?"
Yeah.
Because Auburn claimed all those titles over the summer.
By the way, for those who didn't see, and I'm sure you knew this after last night, you guys were talking about the Heisman odds as that game was going on. That is, of course, shifted dramatically over at FanDuel right now. Fernando Mendoza, minus 3,000. Diego Pavia, plus 1,400. No one else in the same universe. So, there you go.
That's a great question. And one we haven't really talked about on the forum. But our man Jay Holland wants to know about Vandy trying to get a 13th game for yesterday. I thought it was brilliant. I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. But if the narrative is you didn't get invited to play, especially if they're not going to hold it against you, Alabama, if you go somewhere and get punched in the face, I thought it would have been brilliant for Vandy and Notre Dame to figure out a way to play somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame them for trying.
No, 100%.
Figured it wasn't going to work. But
No,
apparently
it wasn't.
Puerto Rico was where they were going to try to play a game. I don't know who they were going to play, but.
I mean, look, the system is so cluttered and undefined. I give them credit for kicking the tires on something that really nobody else thought about. And Sam, you're 100% right. Logistically, absolutely impossible, and probably violates many TV contracts with all of them. So, no, but I also, it allows you to put the narrative out there of we're willing to play anybody anytime because we think we can beat everybody.
Yeah.
So if that's your stump speech, it gives you a little more teeth in that conversation.
Well, hey, thinking outside the box a year ago is what got them in this place.
And the act of a traveling football team is hard. Heck, you'd have to be bingo long in the Traveling All-Stars, an underrated movie with Billy D. Williams, James Earl Jones, and the infamous all-timer that is Richard Pryor that was made about a barnstorming all-black team. So if you haven't seen it, it's worth your time.
Sorry, was that Brewster's Million?
No. Bingo Long's
okay.
Traveling All-Stars and Motor Kings is the full name of it.
I have not seen that one. I like this idea, by the way.
Now, I've heard that too, that the borderline teams, but can you peddle that to TV networks at this point?
Why couldn't you? Well, I guess you'd have the issue with the existing playoff games. That's the problem. And then would ESPN get pissed at the SEC for sending
in this
Vandy
regard,
to Puerto Rico to play Notre Dame and take away from the TV revenues you've got booked on ESPN?
If it's conference title games being a play-in game rather than deciding the champion, then the SEC would have who? Because the regular season champion was Alabama. And you're still going to have to reward champions. So the play-in game would be Vandy and Oklahoma?
I don't know who it would be. I'm just saying I think the point was that somebody made, like, would you have a TV issue with it? In other words, if you're the SEC and you're trying to get eyeballs on your championship game, are you upset at Vanderbilt for going and playing a game?
Well,
not on. I guess if it's on your network, you're okay with it. But I hadn't. That's a thing I hadn't thought about.
Well, the example I gave is where the TV controversy comes in, because there's no way in hell Notre Dame and Vandy could play without NBC and Disney getting into a holy war.
The bracket, Indiana's your 1.
All right, chat. I'm just going to let you know, Chris is the ultimate spoiler. He will be an hour ahead of all of you. So if you don't want to hear, earmuffs. Earmuffs. All right?
You saying my broadcast is ahead of yours?
You're always an hour ahead of everybody.
When did that start happening? I used to be the guy who was chronically behind.
You're always ahead, I think.
Okay.
So,
do you want to know or not want to know?
Nah, we don't want to know. We just want to sit here.
What do you mean, do we want to know? I left brunch with my family, dude. I mean, of course we want to know.
The timing. Okay, Ohio State's number 2. I'm just going to keep rattling them off until you tell me to shut up.
Boo. Spoiler.
Well, that avoids your 7-10 rematch.
Well, that was the whole point, probably.
Yep.
Trying to avoid rematches. We'll see if that's the case in the other games.
So there will be no Alabama. Well, there could be Alabama, Georgia a third time, but
yeah. We're just kidding, guys. Chris is going to tell us. We're just having fun here. Okay. I'm watching it too.
Bless his heart.
Chris is ahead of me, so whatever.
So Georgia. I'm guessing Georgia over Texas Tech at 3.
Oh yeah.
I would think so.
Well, we did have Ohio State at 2.
Unless they
they
want to keep Georgia and Ohio State on opposite ends to where they only meet in the final.
Yeah.
That could be.
But is there a
Georgia's
great justification for that? I mean, that would have been a hard sell other than man, you're like a good half hour ahead of me right now. So, not sure how that happened. I think you've got some kind of off the books type internet you put in.
Hey, you know the lawbreaker that is Chris Lee, man. He's got pirated signals bouncing off satellites from clandestine operations across the globe, man.
We have Georgia, Ohio State potentially in the semis. That would be fascinating.
So Georgia is 3?
Yep. Texas Tech is officially 4.
Yeah, I think Chris is secretly has the ends with
Yes, he does.
Check. I think he's secretly
And
pulling
hey,
some
Vincent
strings.
in a box. Chris's mole looks more like the groundhog from Caddyshack, who Carl Spackler tries to hunt down. And he goes, "Oh, nothing to see here. Just your free neighborhood bunny. Don't mind these wires or nothing. Doctor's orders. Not a plastic explosive or anything."
So we would have Oklahoma and Notre Dame meeting Indiana.
Well, you know,
Winner of that
Oregon's the
one.
5.
We've had Oregon James Madison winner meeting Texas Tech. We would have Texas A&M and Alabama winner going to Ohio State, and we'd have Ole Miss and Tulane winner. Ole Miss and Georgia. Oregon's officially the 5.
All right, your Oregon James Madison odd, currently at FanDuel, as we said earlier, 21.5. Over under 50.5.
Give me the over. I'm actually going to go bet that now because that's going to settle closer to 54.5. Who hired James Madison's coach? Is he's head for UCLA, right?
UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA.
So that's 3
Kenny-
teams in the playoff that
Kenny
don't have
Chesney's
coaches that got them there,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's why
Ole
they get
Miss
up
at 6.
I think they will, Justin. I think they'll be the third team out? Would that be right? 4th team out?
Probably.
It's the group of BYU,
Miami.
Texas, Miami, Vandy. Yeah. Curious what the order is.
I'm also very curious to, as I know Justin is, how far does Vandy slide in the bowl pecking order? I mean,
Yeah.
because we know Texas is coveted.
A&M
ESPN
7.
did their bowl projections this morning, and I will tell you where they have. And I'm pretty sure they have the field that is going to wind up being the field. They have Vandy in the
Nashville?
Gator Bowl,
Okay.
Gator Bowl against Miami.
Sign me up for that.
So
That could either be one of the best bowl games or one of the worst.
Yeah, depending
They'll
on what.
show up and want to prove everybody wrong for leaving them out. It'll be tremendous. But there's a real chance that a whole bunch of people defect, and it looks like that Georgia FSU game when FSU got left out because the quarterback got hurt.
all right, so we got the top 8. It's exactly what we thought. There's no surprise here. Oklahoma's the 8, so they're going to probably play Notre Dame, and then I think we're going to have pretty much what we thought. So,
Hey, how about Ole Miss having rematches its first 2 games?
Tulane and then Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get a real testament on how much value Lane Kiffin has.
Sort of. Well, I guess Summerall's coaching the playoff, right?
No, I'm talking about you got a direct.
I'm just saying the
comp.
shoe's on the other foot with Tulane, too.
Well,
So this is
I'm
something
talking
to
about a
get the
direct comp. Are they as efficient? Are they inspired? Have they been prepared as well? Because you're now getting within months, you've got a test case on what we saw these teams did with Lane, and then a few weeks later, what they're going to do without Lane.
Oh, we just dropped the bomb.
we didn't.
Guess who's
Oh,
the
they put
9?
Alabama at 9.
Alabama and Oklahoma.
Okay.
They play it out, boys. Again. Man, we got rematches all over the map here.
Does that mean Miami over Notre Dame? Because those are the last 2, and they played head-to-head.
Yeah. Could be.
Wow, did not see that one coming. Well, I mean, how would you drop Notre Dame out at this point if you didn't even move Alabama for losing a game?
Yeah, I don't know how you could do that. That would be
Then
tough.
you guys are both talking about the metrics of the weeks leading up to this mean more than two teams that played on the field against each other.
How are you feeling if you're Oklahoma right now? You're just.
Oh, if I'm Oklahoma, I'd much rather have Alabama than Notre Dame.
No, I agree,
Right now.
but it's just like, I mean, listen, people are gonna. I'm sure right now, Alabama to simply be in and be the 9. Like, you want to talk about talking points? You're gonna have some talking points.
And then you get so if Notre Dame is going to A&M, you're getting another rematch. Holy
Yeah, you got
smokes,
4
this is the
rematches on the
rematch.
bottom of the board here. So,
Hey, where do we think Auburn's going to get seated?
yeah. Yeah, like, how about that? You're gonna have 3.
Oh my God!
Who did they put
did
at
it.
10?
They put Miami at 10.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Holy smokes!
Oh, all right. Well,
I was prepared for this. I've got a little soliloquy right here.
Wow! I did not see that coming.
You ready? I was ready for this possibility. One, they didn't prove themselves liars. As the committee said, we'll count head-to-head when they're stacked on each other.
yeah,
They're now stacked on each other.
they did.
They're counting head-to-head. Bigger picture in the macro, because I said earlier on, what is going to – the storylines on this. This is the subliminal Notre Dame, get your ass in a conference.
Yeah.
Because Notre Dame would have been –
God, the odds on Notre Dame were like, weren't they like minus something in the thousands?
Astronomical.
If Notre Dame was in the ACC this year, remember they played what, 6, 7 non-qualifying ACC opponents? 6, 7. They would have been in the ACC title game because their 2 losses were Miami conference loss and A&M non-conference loss. I don't know. But this also gives them cover, one, in the Power 4 conferences because all Power 4 conferences are represented. 2, it allows them to say head-to-head matters. But 3, everybody's going to have to reevaluate the rules of the conference championship games because your ACC champion is headed to the Pop-Tarts Bowl and your ACC third-place finisher is headed to the playoff.
I mean, here's my question. So, like, let's say Georgia beats Alabama 42-7 instead of 28-7. Does it change anything?
Maybe not.
That game was every bit as dominant, other than the numerical semantics. 28-7 in that game. When it was 21-0, it was done. We started decorating our Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Was this a CYA by the committee? Because
100%.
now, like, at least you can say now, hey, look, we didn't, we did go head to head because the criticism would have been hot and heavy if you had put Notre Dame in over Miami. But holy cow, think about this, guys. Notre Dame started the first poll at 9, and Miami was at 18. And Notre Dame did not lose a game. In fact, got one of its better wins. Wound up getting passed by Alabama, which beat Auburn.
A bad Auburn.
Yeah, and then looked awful in the title game, and Bama didn't budge.
Yeah, see, that's my thing. Is what's the...
And it's officially James Madison going to Oregon.
Last week's odds, let's not forget, okay? Just quickly. And we'll start like with the teams that were beyond the top 4. Oregon 5, Ole Miss 6, A&M 7, Oklahoma 8, Alabama 9, Notre Dame 10, BYU 11, Miami 12.
You know who's got the ability to take down his fly and put it on the table? Greg Sankey said, "There's no bleeping way y'all are leaving Alabama out of this, or we're picking up our damn helmets and playing somewhere else."
Surely
And
we all knew. There just was no chance that was going to happen. I know there were people that like saying Alabama shouldn't make it, but
Notre
surely
Dame
we
first
all
out.
believed there was no shot that they were getting left out. Well, yeah, that makes sense.
What if they made a pivot with Texas and Vandy at second out? BYU was the second team out. Okay.
Well, but that speaks to kind of like what we were just talking about. You know, like didn't really matter all that much for them in losing.
I mean, at least BYU got a chance to take a swing, though. Now,
yeah. All right. Well, FanDuel's got some new updated odds for the first round matchups. Well, we don't have them on the board just yet for the other two. We do still have Oregon minus 21.5, Ole Miss minus 17.5. But let's see what Kirk has to say.
I think one team got shafted in this. I'll see if you guys can guess.
One team?
Well, one that is
That's
very.
Like saying there's one problem with the insurance industry in America. One team got shafted?
Okay. Guess where my head went with this one? Maybe that's a better way to phrase it.
Well, the starting point has to be Notre Dame, right?
No, I'm thinking in the bracket. If you flip A&M, and A&M's best wins were at Notre Dame, at Missouri, and then had some other good ones in there too. At LSU being one of them. Ole Miss is in order. At Oklahoma, beat LSU, but that was in Oxford. And Ole Miss lost its coaching staff. So
Parts.
you flip A&M and Ole Miss, and A&M instead of Miami with the right to play at Ohio State if you win it, instead would play Tulane with the right to play at Georgia if you win it. Massive difference.
A massive difference, but if I'm going to say one team that got shafted, massive difference about looking down these stepping stones and lily pads of a playoff bracket compared to Notre Dame Notre Dame didn't play and they dropped. Alabama got the snot beat out of them and they stayed where they are.
BYU also dropped by getting the snot beat out of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and have one fewer loss.
But what happened
you know what this was is it was what happened in the offseason, because again, what happened the day before Greg Sankey said, guys, we're going to 9 games. Anybody remember? The assurance that strength of schedule would matter, and that is what got Alabama in. Like if you go and you leave Alabama out, think about the phone call you were getting from Greg Sankey.
Well, or ESPN, because they want Alabama in. Did you guys see the stuff online this week about the most watched college football teams in America this year? Which teams they averaged the viewership of every game they play? Yes, the SEC is going to have a lot because, yes, the SEC plays a lot of great games. But Alabama was 1, and 7 of the top 10 were SEC teams, including freaking Auburn. Auburn was like 7. And I had a hard time watching Auburn because the offense was so constipated. It felt like me after Thanksgiving on a road game. So anybody else get the traveler's gut? You know what I'm talking about? Like you can't. Well, never mind. Side topic. But so look, they serve multiple masters on the committee, and sadly, like 3 or 4 down the list is trying to find the field of the 12 best teams in college football. Because if they did, and I expect this to be on the table, you can't be a random conference champion if you're not in the top 20 of the poll, period. I mean, because
I agree.
I mean, I don't know what they got to do, and even that's a computer metric because.
But do you think they wouldn't rig the poll potentially? I mean, I think I like the sentiment. I just wonder would they engineer it another way?
See, they're serving at bigger masters than the AAC. So, yeah, I don't think they'd rig the poll in that direction. First part of your question, without the predicate add-on, do I think they'd rig the poll? Hell to the bleep, yes, I do. But do I think they would rig the poll to make certain the James Madisons of the world get in? No. I mean, honestly, the only people outside of the Great Northwest, who the hell? I'd probably watch North Dakota State play in the FCS playoffs before I'd watch James Madison go get curb stomped by Oregon.
Can we agree that the eventual – so what happened was by having BYU drop, you wound up having Miami and Notre Dame stacked on top of each other. And that's where it immediately went to head-to-head. And you're saying if it's that close, we're going to take the team. Because everybody, that's – I'm just looking social media, right? This is obviously the biggest surprise for some people, but that's exactly what happened is you had the domino effect to get those two on top of each other in the rankings. And even though Notre Dame was 2 spots ahead last week, once you there's still some logic gaps there. I'm just going to tell you.
Well, the committee had engineered an outcome to get both of them in if other teams had dropped. Like what happened the last few weeks was Oklahoma hit a heater, won some road games. Alabama had done enough work to justify getting in at that point, I guess. I mean, the only way that you were going to get both Notre Dame and Miami in the playoff was to do what the committee did the first week. And what ended up happening to Notre Dame is too many other teams won.
Well, see, I look at it a little bit different direction in the sense that the public blowback, even from the talking heads on game day, a lot of people in my column on timesfreepress.com that I write every morning at 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, they don't call this college football playoff anymore. They call this the ESPN Invitational. And hey, if we're going to talk conspiracy theories and black hats, who's Notre Dame's TV partner?
Yeah.
And
but who gets better ratings, though? I mean, would Notre Dame not get better ratings than Miami?
The SEC?
No, I'm saying in this format, who's going to do better numbers for ESPN? Is it going to be Notre Dame or Miami if you had to pick one?
Okay.
Because I think there's a whole lot more Catholics out there than Notre Dame fans. Than Miami fans.
I agree with that. But if you're thinking about putting them in as the last seed, you're thinking they're only going to get one game. So who has the TV rights to the ACC or Notre Dame? Same answer. The ESPN Invitational is real, boys. And look, all of the game day talking heads BS about Ole Miss should have let Lane Kiffin coach distracted everybody else about the snowball running downhill that gained unbelievable momentum that went across all ESPN platforms and was universal. Head-to-head has to matter.
Yeah.
And I think the committee eventually heard that. Do I think Notre Dame belongs in? Heck, yes, I do. Do I think Notre Dame – the line would be similar, Blake, to your question. If you blindly ask me, and I'm not putting it because it's hypothetical, so it's not anywhere close, Notre Dame's 19.5, minus 19.5 over James Madison. And probably favored more over Tulane, especially if that's a home game.
Yeah, so if you're listening on audio after the fact and you're not watching on the screen, we did just put up the odds for the new games, not the ones that were there earlier. Nothing's changed with Oregon, James Madison, 21.5. Ole Miss, 17.5 against Tulane. You have Texas A&M, 3.5 point favorite against Miami. and Alabama 1.5-point favorite on the road against Oklahoma.
Well, I mean, again, the committee did something here. You could avoid you getting yelled at twice. If you give Notre Dame the 10 spot, then you're not letting head-to-head matter, and you're also doing a rematch with A&M. So,
well, it's
maybe
clear
a little
though,
bit
Chris,
easier.
they don't
But
give
I think your TV theory, I'm buying it more now that I've given it some thought. That was not a thing in my head before you mentioned it.
See,
but I mean, you get a lot of wins by putting Miami in over Notre Dame that way.
well, you also satisfy the ACC.
Yep.
And I think Midwest Picker's got a valid point, and I referenced it 10 minutes ago. Notre Dame joined the damn conference. Because you can't have your cake and eat it too, because somebody called it the Notre Dame Broadcasting Company. And they solo cash those checks. And we get it. Nobody else wants to share. We're no longer in kindergarten. Nobody wants to share.
All right. Before we hop off in a few, initial just thoughts on how you see this thing playing out.
Wow. Give me Ohio State over Texas Tech to win it all.
That's kind of where I'm leaning too, Jay.
So you're saying that because you don't. It's hard to trust the trio of whatever comes out of Indiana versus Alabama or Indiana versus Oklahoma.
And I also know that Indiana's going to get beat on physically, whatever that game is. All right, going down the bracket, 5 wins and covers easily. I know we got a lot of Oklahoma fans here. If Jam Miller is healthy, Alabama goes there and wins and tells everybody to shut the bleep up. Ole Miss wins, Georgia wins, and in that one, I think A&M rolls. I don't know. They're not tested enough. The 7-10 game may be sneaky great, but I think Ohio State's the most talented team in the country. So, and I think Texas Tech is the best paid team in the country. Or at least left.
God, the bottom half of that bracket. I mean, you got some teams in there. The way Georgia's playing, I'd much rather be in the top half.
God, yeah. I mean, in the eyes of Vegas, pull it up, Blake. What are the college football future odds? Because I bet Ohio State and Georgia, well, they play each other in the semifinals, so that'll augment the betting futures.
Mm-hmm.
But Ohio State, I bet, is still the favorite, even after losing to Indiana last night.
So here are your updated odds. Ohio State's plus 250, Indiana plus 260. Then you've got the gap, Georgia plus 550, Oregon plus 850, Texas Tech plus 850. So you're pretty much a push there on, whoever comes out of that one, and then A&M decent drop to plus 1,400. So, yeah. I'll tell you what, if I'm a Florida fan, I'm looking at this bracket right here, and I'm saying, my guy, John Summerall, about to come in, give me Ole Miss, Georgia, and A&M. Let him just wipe the floor with all of them, get the Tulane team to the national championship. I don't know if that's going to happen, folks, but there's your path.
Happen. And in truth, conversely, in a practical world, Blake, the Florida fan goes, all right, my guy, John Summerall, now go lose by 2 touchdowns in Oxford and get your ass to Gainesville and get to work.
Yeah. Sounds great and all. I'd like you to beat Georgia, but it's okay if you want to wait till you get here to do it.
Yeah,
you don't have to do it right now.
Let's do that at the cocktail party. All right?
Yeah. All right. If you here's another just quick random question. If you had to rank the non-top 4 that you feel most confident in having the best chance to win the national championship? Is it as simple as going in the order that's there, or would you adjust the order, let's say, of the top 4 or 5 seeds?
I would honestly list 5 and then the winner of 8, 9 ahead of 6 and 7 because of the hurdles you've got to clear. I don't think Ole Miss nor Tulane will beat Georgia, and I do not think A&M or Miami will beat Ohio State.
I kind of like Oregon. The A&M Miami game fascinates me. I need to get my head around that one a bit, though. Like, I feel like we just kind of soured on A&M a little bit after that one loss when A&M had been so consistent. And by the way, Texas did lose a game in its ballpark.
What's
Difference
their best win?
Notre Dame at Notre Dame. I mean, not a lot of teams went and got a road win like that one. By the way, I think I mentioned this last night. Texas was that close to being 0-5 on the road. I don't know how much that was talked about, but.
So now that we know the field here, I think if you turn your attention to some of the other possible high-profile bowl games, like we said, of that group that was left out, Notre Dame. Who plays Notre Dame? Texas?
Probably.
Man, that needs to be the NIL-sponsored opt-out bowl. I mean, I don't know how desirable. I think Clark Lee and Diego Pavia and those guys will keep everybody together and try to prove people wrong. But that's a real consideration right now. Like, if you're Jeremiah Love, are you wanting to play in a bowl game having battled injuries all year and potentially being the number 1 back on the draft board?
Yeah, but they've got a dude behind him who can play a bit too. But I get it. I think Texas, like if you're doing the Texas Notre Dame, as much as it matters anymore, Notre Dame's got all right, let's go and show the world we got screwed out of this. Texas, I don't really know what you have to play for.
Oh, Eurocheck's on. Hang on. Keep talking. I'll get your.
Well,
yeah, head to head, like simple as that. Notre Dame, Miami, there you have it. Like,
by the way, they never did give us the committee's metrics. This says this is ESPN's analytics. The committee never told us, did it, what their strength of schedule and strength of record metrics are. I mean, they hired Sports Source Analytics to do that for them, but apparently they keep that all to themselves, which I don't like.
Well, of course not. I mean, what has been transparent about any of this process? And you want to talk about, in the newspaper business, we call it the Friday news dump, where Friday afternoon you throw out, and Butcher Boy may be 100% right, you throw out news you don't want to talk about Friday afternoon from about 4:30 on. You just send out a press release and whatever else. This day in college football is the perfect day for the college football news dump because everybody's talking committee. Everybody's talking bowls. Did you see that Iowa State and Kansas State turned down bowl bids and are going to stay home with the coaching changeovers, and they're going to owe $500,000? And then the news comes that Brent Pry is going to stay in Blacksburg as the defensive coordinator. And I know neither of these are SEC things, but this is the great day to just drop landmines of the Sunday at 1 o'clock news dump. NFL going on, bowl selection, Saban probably making up some stuff because, Lane can get you a coach and Alabama deserves to be there. Oh, I'm sorry. Miss Terry tells me I need to go get some I need to make certain I get a country ham for next Sunday's dinner. I mean, who knows what he's going to spout off? McAfee's got his shirt off. Herb Street's bringing his dog on set. I mean, Reese Davis is going to ask questions to Hunter Yurachek, and the follow-up is going to be, that sounds good. That's a good point.
Am I the one with a little sympathy for Hunter Yurachek? Let's unpack this for a minute, okay?
No.
Well, hold on. Before you unpack this, I am the only one who has listened to this right now.
Okay,
hold on 1 second. Reese Davis has asked him 5 questions on Miami and Notre Dame, and he has had to dance around this a bit because Reese's whole thing is, you're telling me that just now is the time you decided to go head-to-head on Miami Notre Dame and not the entire process to get there before today, basically. So why are you just now deciding that we're going to value that over this and swap them? And that's where, like, he's had to dance around that a little bit, where he's bringing up Louisville and how the initial, like, he's bringing up all these different things.
What can I think of?
And Reese Davis he's not letting him out on this one. Like, he just keeps asking. He's asked 5 questions about Miami Notre Dame. And again, it always goes back to, well, we've gotten back because we now have to evaluate head-to-head because they're together. And Reese Davis's argument is, why are you not evaluating them head-to-head before they're stacked on top of each other? And how does that make such a difference after the fact when neither team played a game? But Jay has already explained the explanation for you. You don't need to hear it from Hunter Yurachek. So,
all right, let's be painfully honest. I need to be in that committee. I mean, let's just go ahead. Everything's better if I'm in the committee. First, I'm going to make everybody laugh. I'm going to make them all feel included. And we'll have cocktails and we'll bring in some wings. The other thing we're doing is forget this, we're all watching games together over the weekend of conference championships. BS. Another thing we got to do, we got to alter the releasing of all polls, because the preseason AP poll is a shapeshifter of narrative. And then especially in the NIL era and the portal era, where we don't know this crap. If Vandy had started as good as they are in the ranking, Vandy's in this thing.
all right.
Got no
to your
votes
point
in
there,
the preseason AP poll, I believe.
here's something interesting about that. So he was defending Alabama, and he said Alabama best win because they won at Georgia, arguably the best win of anybody. So that's defense number 1. Number 2 was, well, they also had a good/great win against Tennessee.
Huh?
Well, now hold on a second, because
Whoa,
hang on a second there, Hunter, because I'm pretty sure we held that against another team. So,
yes. Buddy, Tennessee's
hold
bye
on.
week. You wouldn't believe how much better Tennessee got between the Vandy game and today. Let me tell you.
listen, I don't know the word for word. You guys have to go back and watch the actual. But he when he's defending Alabama, he brings up Tennessee, and that's where
It's whatever we need it to be.
I'm not knocking Tennessee, but that was the whole thing about Vanderbilt was, well, Tennessee dropped out, so it's not a great winner.
Can I just throw in one thing quickly? And I'm not endorsing this wholeheartedly, but let's not forget Hunter Yurachek did not start the year as this. In fact, the first poll came out and Hunter Yurachek wasn't even the head of this. Also going through a coaching search at the same time.
Okay.
Just saying. I'm not look, we can laugh at their logic. I am going to defend him just a hair, saying he got thrown into a bad spot.
When you said it, I actually agreed with you. You thought I was disagreeing with you because my volume raised. But no, I was agreeing with you that, yes, Hunter Yurachek was put in an impossible situation. But I don't think it was by accident. How many people are on that committee? Go get one of the former football coaches. At least he'll get up there and tell you what he damn thinks. You go get administrators, and they're going to tell you what they think you want to hear, because that's their job. So the committee was dealt a bad blow, and Hunter Yurachek was left to hold and Can't Buy Me Love Ronald Miller's best friend threw a flaming bag of poop on his front door and he caught it. And you're like, you bleeped on my house. Well, they put the flaming bag of poop in Ronald Miller's hand. And Ronald Miller is Hunter Yurachek. And he was left holding the bag in this whole kettle of crap.
It's multiple poop analogies today.
We've had 2 of them. We're an hour and 10 minutes in. We appreciate you guys. I'll tell you where you can't get poop. That's at the Yearly Company, because they got Nashville-based fine jewelry brand built on tradition, designed for meaning, solid 14-karat gold, no more solids in there other than the 14-karat gold, natural gemstones, backed by a lifetime guarantee. Every Yearly Company bangle, custom sized, I guess, technically, like something else that Jay was just referring to. But you can get 100% off the size and get. You got to know that size before you make your order. 100% off SC16 kit over the Yearly Company. Check them out. Support them. They support the channel. We appreciate your support of the Yearly Company. And head over to our friends at ROKFORM. Extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting. It's the world's strongest magnetic phone case. You know that already. SEC25. 25% off over at ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com. All right. Anything else before we wrap up here? Chris, you did put the final numbers, which this should not shock anyone, 13, 14, and 15. I mean, I don't know how it was never going to flop this week other than the Miami Notre Dame thing. I don't think there was ever a doubt that we weren't exactly swapping the other 2 SEC teams where they were at last week. So, yeah. So there you go.
Are they reporting bowl game matchups?
They will start to come out probably fast and furious here. So I'm sure we'll have more
thoughts.
thoughts.
Do a show for that anymore? They don't, do they? Or did they ever do it?
I don't remember. They used to do it. I don't know if they still do it or not.
They just come out on Twitter, don't they?
Usually that's the easiest place to find bowl. If you're looking for bowl matchups, that's the easiest place to do it. They'll start coming out. So the Pop-Tart Bowl should be first up. We'll see. Someone's asked like where BYU winds up. I think BYU probably heads to the Alamo against USC.
Be a good game.
Maybe that was kind of the common thought when everyone knew that BYU wasn't making the playoff. That seems to be the common thought out there. We'll see if that happens. Again, I think the biggest questions and dominoes are just a matter of what matchup are you now setting up for Notre Dame. I think it's probably Texas, but we'll see.
I'm looking here at Sporting News. I'm going to take them for their word. They've already locked in a few of these games. Now, not some of them on both sides. I will drop this in the chat.
Well, just tell us, because that's going to be easier than
okay.
dropping in the chat.
But, I mean, they may update these as we're doing it. Okay, what you've got so far, according to Sporting News, I'll just go down the list of dates. What's set? Boise State and Washington in the LA Bowl, December 13th. USF and Old Dominion in the Ventures Bowl. Don't know what that is. On the 17th.
Let's skip over some of these.
I'm going to give you. I'll give you the.
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Penn State's in a bowl game. Music City is going to be Illinois and somebody. I bet you that's Tennessee.
I would think
Alamo
so.
Bowl is going to be Southern Cal and somebody.
Probably BYU.
ReliaQuest, Iowa and somebody. I bet that's Vanderbilt. Sun Bowl, Arizona State and someone. Citrus, Michigan and someone. Bet that's Texas. And the Las Vegas Bowl already set in Nebraska and Utah.
You don't think they do Vandy in Michigan?
They could.
I think that's a lot of that's dependent on whether you get the Texas.
The talk yesterday was Vandy and Iowa and ReliaQuest. ReliaQuest had bowl reps at a couple of their games.
Ugh. Yuck.
Offense versus defense, man.
Well, I'm Vanderbilt. I just had a magical season, and
I know I get it, but I'm trying.
Not saying Michigan's, the Harbaugh Michigan, but
Michigan isn't much on offense either. Last I checked.
Well,
I mean, they do have Bryce Underwood. That's a name. I get it, but
all right. Well, ESPN had the Rely Quest. It's Iowa and Tennessee. That was their
Interesting.
rock lock of the day, it seemed like. But it does seem like you could get Michigan, Texas, and the Cheez-It Bowl. And yeah,
I've been hearing for days that Tennessee was going to Music City, but maybe something changed with the Miami domino triggering something that we didn't expect. Who knows?
We'll find out. All right, we're out of here. You guys were asking, are we doing basketball today? No. And to be honest with you, the reason why is because I don't think many people care, because we just had teams get absolutely walloped yesterday. There's Missouri, Kansas today. We'll have basketball power rings tomorrow. We'll do a bit of a longer show to pick up on the weekend action. So, sorry. Some people want to talk Arkansas, Fresno State. We'll talk that tomorrow.
All right. Everybody have a good day. Thank you for watching. God bless you. For Jay Greeson, for Blake Lovell, you've been watching Southeastern 16 presented by FanDuel.